being able to go score 90 points a game like they did. I mean, I get it. It's against Toledo. I mean, Toledo's a higher for basketball. I don't really know if it's considered a non-Power Five school, but because I don't think they don't really do that very much. Um, but it was also a game where Michigan seemed that Jett Howard wasn't playing, and Michigan seems to play better when Jett's not playing. I mean, we talked about it last week on last week's show too, but this is just another example of where Michigan plays better without Jett. And before I let you talk real quick, so before last time Jett got hurt, and he was out for like those 3 games.
Yep.
Michigan went 3-0 without him. Come back, we go 0-3 to end the season, or whatever it was. Yeah, 0-3 because we lost those 2 big games, the 2 games at the end of the season that we needed to win, like Indiana and Illinois, and then we lost the Big Ten championship in the Big Ten tournament. I mean, there's definitely, in my opinion, some correlation there. It's pretty obvious at this point.
Yeah, I think your little theory, we talked about it off air, and then we talked about it a little on air. The more I look at it, the more I think that gains traction, and even if it's not consciously, there's got to be something to it. The focus is more on Jett, his boy, than it is, and I do think that he's a little bit of a selfish player. He's there. He's there obviously because his dad's there, right? And that's fine. So's Jace, but he's also, looking at it now in hindsight's always 2020. But I think he would have been better off, and I feel for sure we would have been better off if he would have went somewhere else, because we've seen glimpses of the hype, right? But never seen consistency. And our guard play and our defense has been god awful all year long. So that goes hand in hand. But I do think, it's kind of cool today that got Vanderbilt, right? So Juwan Howard versus Jerry Stackhouse.
Yeah, 2
kind of cool former teammates. And Jerry's done a really, really good job at Vanderbilt. I think we win today, but I think after that we're done. But something that's interesting, we were talking about this as well a little bit ago. I'm not really a Twitter guy except for around the football season, but I hopped on the other day, and I think
all over it.
I think Jace Howard is or Jett, I mean, is he might be Michigan's most all-time hated basketball player by his fans. Like there is a lot of dislike for that young man, and it's not entirely fair, but I was a little bit taken aback. People are blaming the whole season on him, and I do think that he's a part of that puzzle, but I don't know that it's all his fault. I mean, Daddy's got to take some heat too, right?
Well, I think Daddy takes some heat. I think now, going off of that, the Juwan Howard thing first, because with me, I gotta focus on one thing, or else we'll go down a fucking rabbit hole.
Right.
I mean, I think Juwan Howard going into next season is kind of like how it's kind of in the same position that I believe Jim Harbaugh was in after the 2020 COVID season, where, hey, dude, you need to come out next season and fucking win, or might be finding a new job.
See it, and I don't see it that way, but most of the analysts and the people that pay attention to it are with you. I think next year is a free year too, and I mean it looks like obviously I'm wrong, but
if
the seat's hot, and I really don't think that it should be that. Well, the seat's warm, and if he doesn't start off pretty hot next year, it's going to get hot quick. So
I mean, he's only finished one season with 20 plus wins.
Right. COVID year though,
not,
right?
Not Well, yeah, but he was 19-12 to end the regular season that season.
Right.
I mean, you take away postseason play. I'm talking about like just straight up postseason play. The only season it was when we won the Big Ten championship. I mean, you can't the double digit losses. I mean, that's just some big thing, especially the past two seasons, 19-15, and I guess now we're 18-15 with the win against Toledo the other night. Um, it, I think it's probably also just more because John Beeline spoiled the fuck out of us. I don't know if you, I don't. Some people might get this, but do you ever watch the Outer Banks
Just a little
on
bit. I
Netflix?
never like
Well, if you,
watched a bunch or anything.
if you get the opportunity to watch it, it's pretty fucking good. Like even you might think it's like a teen show. It's more just a treasure like treasure hunt. Uh, I don't know. It's hard to explain. Like adventure. It's just a pretty good show. But on there, there's a scene where like when he was younger, his dad used to ring like a bell because when he'd be out on the water and stuff as a kid, and he'd say, "Come on home, John B." And someone posted a meme the other day of his dad ringing the bell, and there was a picture of John Beeline right next to it, and it just made me laugh. And I was like, "Yeah, I could take that back."
That'd be awesome. I just don't think it's going to happen. But
No,
Juwan Howard went from you know he come in and started off hot, right? Beeline's guys, blah blah blah. But people had him pegged as John fucking Wooden, and now they got him as Brian Ellerby, and I don't. I think he's somewhere in between that. I think he's going to figure it out. I think we've talked about this a little bit in the past. I think he's relied too much on the transfer portal and too much focusing on the high, the one and dones, the 4 and 5 stars, um, and point guard has been the equivalent of Jim Harbaugh's quarterback for him during his era. Maybe not. Maybe that's a little bit of a stretch, but there's a lot of similarities there. He's struggled to have somebody here for more than a season that's been consistent. Um, so he's got to fix that, and I think if I don't think that Jed has shown enough to be drafted high enough to go, but I almost think he's got to go somewhere else, and that probably won't happen. But I think that would be best for Juwan Howard and Michigan basketball.
well, that was kind of where I was going to go next with this. Is you seen Jet Howard set out per an ankle injury apparently.
Yep.
Jet Howard came out and kind of turned down, told everyone, "No, I'm not sitting out. I'm not opting out of the season." Well, in my opinion, I think he is. He could definitely prove me wrong, come out and play today, and I'll be kind of pissed off if he's on the court. No, not gonna, not hating on him, but just because it seems like, as we said, it seems like the flow is so much better with him not out there. But again, he's a good player, and sometimes it works out. But again, I think he hurts us more when he plays us.
He
But
is. He's been really good, but I guess for me the best way to put it is when he's out on the floor, right?
it seems like he
Seems
tries to
like
do too
everything's
much.
got to go through him, and everybody's
Yeah,
worried about him getting his instead of running their schemes and playing Michigan basketball. So you've been around sports long enough. Is sometimes there's addition by subtraction, right? And just because your guy is the most physically talented doesn't mean that he's a good fit for your team or what you're trying to do schematically. And combined with everything else we talked about, I really think that's where we're at. Um, I didn't think I really can't think of anybody besides Franz. Well, last year Caleb Houston, uh, you know, there's a laundry list of Michigan players that left early that I didn't think.
I'm pretty
had a
sure you said
chance.
the same thing about Jordan Poole.
Correct. Yep.
And Jordan Poole's
Jordan
had
Poole's another one.
probably
And
the
and
most successful NBA career out of any of them.
yeah, so far, right? So there's a laundry list of guys that I thought, that's a year early or what, and they've went on to have varying levels of success, but um, they've had decent NBA careers, so we'll see, and that's one thing that differentiates the NBA from our evaluating talent from a fan level, right? Is they're drafting potential, and they see the physical tools, and they see the bloodline, right? And they see that, or they think that, hey, this guy's worth a shot. So weirder things will happen. Maybe he will get drafted, but I see the potential, but I just don't see. Um, I can't. I don't think that he's put together like I don't know, a 3 to 5 game stretch where he's just been absolutely dominant every game, and
Well, I mean, I think it was right there before he got hurt. He put that one where I think he put up like
yeah, you're
20, and
right
he
about
had
that.
that,
It was coming.
30-point game. But it really just seems like ever since he got hurt, he hasn't been the same player. And I mean, that could definitely be something to look at too. Is the injury? I'm not saying that it should matter. I mean, but it could be affecting him. Whole lot.
And that's more than fair. It very well could be, but what's the what's the reason for the inconsistency before the injury? To me, a top NBA level prospect is going to be consistent for 40 minutes, and they're going to have consistently dominant stretches in a game, and be able to take it over and put the team on your back. And again, seen a few spurts from them, right? And I guess I'll qualify it too as saying that this is probably the least amount of Michigan basketball I've watched in at least 10 years.
I've sadly still watched pretty much every single game, and I have mental health issues because of
I
it.
caught bits and pieces of the majority of the games, but I think I only watched two full games all year.
Yeah, I have mental health issues for it, so you're probably lucky.
So
okay, go ahead.
What do you think today? What's your prediction?
I mean, looking at Vanderbilt, and what are they? They're the 2 seed in our bracket, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Let me go here real quick. I haven't looked at them that much. I mean, they're
and why you're digging up what you're digging up too. I think that Jet has hurt Hunter Dickinson as well.
I think the whole team has hurt Hunter Dickinson. And I don't know if we had this conversation. I think we had this conversation over the phone or something like that. I definitely think that they're hurt. They've hurt Hunter Dickinson draft stock.
To me, and again, I didn't watch nearly as much as I typically do, but to me, Kobe Buffkin is better than Jet.
At this point, like watching games, yeah, it definitely has been more consistent, and I think, I mean, there's an opportunity he can go pro. I don't. Again, I mean, who fucking knows? As we just talked about, I don't personally would if someone was paying me to say, hey, this dude's ready, I would say, hey, this dude's not ready, just by what I've watched. Obviously not watching extra film, stuff like that, like people who get paid to do this stuff do. But I mean, he still had, Dixon averaged 18.4 a game, 9 rebounds a game. Had another good season, but it's just, it was on last week's show we talked about it, because I remember talking about this now, is that as I talked about then, we if that play trying to get the ball down to Hunter Dickinson doesn't work, it seems like we don't have a backup plan ever.
Right.
Because usually it's duck it down to him. If he can't get in, he usually finds an open man if he gets double teamed. And we pray to God that they hit the three. And again, if we could get somebody like a Nick Stoskis or a Duncan Robinson or a Stu Douglas, Zach Novak, who can consistently like shoot 40 to 50% from the 3 point line, as they did great. I mean, and I think that's kind of what Joey Baker was supposed to come in and do, which shout out to him. Dude had his best game of his lifetime against fucking Toledo. Um, but he just wasn't that during the season. So, but if we had somebody like that playing for us, man, it would be dangerous. I mean, the kick out like that, finding him in the opposite corner for Dickinson, throwing back across the court, that would be a very dangerous duo, like 1-2 duo to have. But we just don't have a consistent 3 point shooter. Probably our best one might be Hunter Dickinson at this fucking point in the season. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
he's shooting
to be fair, I don't think that he
43% from the
has.
line.
I don't think that he's developed and evolved as much as he should have.
Well, I also think a lot of
from year 1 to year 3, and maybe that's on him, maybe that's on Joanna and staff, maybe it's a little bit of both. I don't know, but you know, usually you would expect the junior year to be better than the freshman, right? And in my mind, I think that he had a better season. His freshman season was his best season, and I do think that he's grown and is a better overall player. But and again, maybe that goes back to some of the things we talked about earlier, scheme and a little more focus on Jet. But statistically, and I'd have to look this up, but I feel like off the top of my head, he's regressed. He's a better 3 point shooter, right?
well, and that's one thing I think he was one of his main focuses is because that was one of his biggest hits was his shooting from the outside, not even the 3 point line, just shooting from anywhere other than
Right.
that free throw line and in the paint. Shooting was not good, and I think that's was kind of what he worked on the most for the most part. But I don't know. I don't get paid to do this shit. I don't watch enough film.
Right.
But just like you said, just as we talked about, going off of what we watch and what we see every day, it's very apparent that something's the something's the problem, and
Yeah, there's a disconnect there, right?
yeah,
There just is.
yeah, and we'll see. I mean, going back to your question before we got on this train, I think we lose today. Vanderbilt's a very good defensive team. Um, I just had all their stats pulled up and I exited out of it. I believe we give up I think 80 points a game and they give up 60. Um, let me see here. So we're about even in points per game, but points against we give up 80 and they average 62. You know what? Never mind. Those aren't even fucking. No, that's not right. Never mind. I was trying to see it. At first, I was like, oh, wait. Something's broke here. I think something's broke here. Let me see before I run my mouth and talk. Who was I looking for? Vanderbilt?
Yeah.
I think Vanderbilt's in the SEC, right?
Yes.
So, all right, never mind. Fuck it, because it doesn't want to tell me. Because I think the numbers that I was looking at was just for the tournament. But I think we lose, especially if their defense really is that good. I think we lose. They're giving up only 62 points a game this season. I don't think there's really any shot of us winning. I think we probably lose by double digits. One, because if you go back to the Toledo game, a lot of bad stuff happened in that game that probably got overlooked. Definitely didn't get overlooked by me because I was losing my mind about it, because I lose my mind about it every game. Michigan gave up, I think, let me pull it up. I think we had 14 turnovers again. And I believe we gave up, God damn it. And I believe I say 14 turnovers, and I believe that we gave up 12 offensive rebounds. And that's again, we talked about it. It's not winning basketball at all. But we'll see. I mean, I don't really know what. I hope we win, but also won't be mad if I don't have to stress about watching Michigan basketball anymore this season. And there's no, I mean, you know how it goes. I'm not gonna watch it, and then we watch it. Real quick, crazy fucking stat. Did you see how many field goals Toledo put up in that game, though?
Say that again.
Did you see how many shots Toledo put up in the game last week? They went 32 for 73.
Holy cow!
Yeah,
That's a lot of shots.
and yeah,
that's almost 2 shots a minute.
We put up 32 55, but I mean that's that kind of proves about the offensive rebounding and turnovers right there, though. When a team's putting up 73 points or 73 shots a game, really. But yeah, well, guess we'll get on to a funny, non-depressing topic now. Can we talk about how Sparty's celebrating like they won a fucking national championship or winning a first-round game? I mean, Sparty being fucking Sparty to a T, man.
Right.
Burning couches for beating a lower seed, 10 seed USC. I mean, I get it, guys. Y'all haven't been you guys have been past the first round, the first weekend. I think it's 5, only one time in the last like 6 years, and that was 2019. Haven't made it past the first round since 2019, so I really only 2 seasons. Only 2 seasons. But you take the first one only like 6 seasons. That's not very good. Where's that Izzo magic at? Now that I say this, Izzo will somehow fucking pull this shit out of his ass and go to the Final Four again. But the fact that they are burning couches and partying in the streets like it's fucking like they won a natty in 2000 all over again.
That's why they're little bro.
This shit. And of course, you get the response, "Oh, just stay in your lane if you're in the NIT, or enjoy the NIT." And I said, like, well, at least I know we belong there. I'm not like, that doesn't hurt me.
Right.
I didn't think we belonged in the tournament in the first place. Did I want us to make the tournament? Yeah, I did. But
yeah, we're a football school.
In my opinion, if they were to go out in the first round and we win the NIT, we've had a more successful season. Just in my opinion.
You can make that argument. Listen,
like I mean, because we would have went all the way through a tournament. I get it. Not playing the same people that they're playing. I mean, you could, like you said, you could make the argument. I'm not gonna argue right now because I'm still half asleep.
yeah, had Michigan made it, and I don't think they even close to deserved it either, but had Michigan made it, this team is it's hard to get a beat on them. I think that they could have made a Sweet 16 run, and probably that's about the tops. Maybe if Jet gets hot, a la like Trey Burke did or whatever, and puts us on his back, maybe we go a little bit further than that. But I also wouldn't have been surprised if we made it if we'd got our ass blown out in the first game, no matter who we played. And that's the bottom line with these guys is they seem to play up and play down to the competition. And I've got the impression a few times that they think that, hey, we're Michigan and everybody's just going to lay down, and that's just not the case. There's more parity in college basketball right now than there ever has been, and these upsets have shown it. And you have your traditional dogs in Arizona and Virginia, and I think you got to put Purdue in that same breath now, right? Because they've done it 2 years in a row.
3. They've lost Purdue's. Yeah, Purdue. The past 3 tournaments have lost to it. I think it was 12 or no. I think it was a 13, 15, and 16 now. I know it was a 15 seed and a 16 seed the past 2 seasons.
Right.
I think it was a 13 seed 3 years ago. And I mean, other than Virginia's, a lot of people call it a walk in the park national championship, but that I think if you win a natty, it's not a walk in the park in my opinion, and it doesn't matter what season it is or when you're playing, but they're just all consistently losing to double-digit seeds every fucking year. It seems. I mean, but going off that, I think those 16 seeds, those bigger seeds, are getting a lot more competitive than they were even 10 years ago. I think they're getting
absolutely
the talent. And I think that's now why you're seeing those 16 seeds take down 1 seeds is because with, let alone not even just the NIL probably helps that also, is to be able to get a little bit more better talent to come to your school. And that is the side of, I guess I like that a little bit, the NIL stuff more kind of on the college basketball side because it does make the playing field a little bit better, a little bit more even. More than it does really, I think, kind of on the football side, as we've talked about, it kind of makes it a little almost more uneven than it was.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah, for sure. I think it works closer to as it intended in basketball than football. Mm-hmm. But the tournament is my favorite event, my favorite sporting event by far. It's not even close. And as far as exciting opening weekends go, and it's not even over with right yet. This has got to be near the top. And I haven't watched nearly as much of it as I usually do, but I'm gonna catch up on that this weekend.
Yeah, and that's something. I mean, I've tried. I don't know, because the games have been, there's been good games, but then some of the games have just been like, this game's already over. But I think that's been my issue is I keep finding the dumb games other than the Princeton win and the Furman win. I watched both those, but can we talk about what in the hell was going through that dude's mind against Virginia though? Why?
Yeah.
Why didn't
Pure
you throw the
panic,
ball?
right? He panicked.
Why? I mean, as the Furman player said in the video, he literally just threw the ball up.
Yeah.
I was like, he threw it up, and I looked at the time. I said, "Oh, that ball's gonna come back down." And as soon as the Furman player caught it, I said, "They're about to hit a 3-pointer to win it." I said, "That's just how fucking March goes. This is just how this goes." I said,
He
"This game
could
is
not
fucking
have
over."
done anything worse, right? So I
Yeah,
didn't watch that live, but I seen the replays, within 5 or 10 minutes after it happened. And the first couple times I watched it, I thought that was an inbound pass. I really wasn't paying attention.
oh.
So why he didn't either one, he would have been a lot better just to go out of bounds, right? But why he didn't bounce that off that guy's head or face or leg or something is beyond me.
I guess
He just chucked it. That was something you would see in 8th grade basketball. It's inexcusable, really.
I mean, I guess it was more just I get I my only assumption is he thought he had less time that was on the clock, or he thought he could throw it far enough,
High enough and
high
far
enough
enough.
and far enough where it would get down at least to the back court. And if they would have caught it not at half court, it probably would have been game over.
Yeah,
But he
absolutely.
didn't. He didn't. If they would have caught it at the opposite free throw line or 3-point line and below it, it probably shooting that shot at half court,
Yeah. No,
and
that
it's
kid made a
very
hell
less.
of a
But
play, right? I mean,
yeah,
he read it. He read it like a DB, jumped it,
yeah.
and gathered his thoughts. And his guy was sitting there waiting. And I was like you. I'm like, as soon as he threw that to the shooter, I'm like, oh, that's going in. I know it.
Oh yeah, it's just the way. That's just the way it goes. Like you
Uh,
like, oh, you messed up in March. Here's a fucking buzzer beater in your eye. Have fun at home.
right.
Um, no, that was that. In my opinion, the Princeton game, Princeton over Arizona, it was a good game, but I think definitely out of the first round, um, around the 6-4, the definitely that game was probably the most exciting, um, up and at it. We won't talk about brackets. I'm good with that. We can skip that today.
Oh no, let's talk
Um,
about brackets.
no, we're good. No, we're good.
So there's a lot to play out, right? And there was something that popped up for me the other day, and I can't, for whatever reason, I can't get back to it. It showed like um, the win probability and how many possible points um, we had, and everybody was right in it. But and there's always a but, right? Is that our number one in our tall and taller pick'em is at 99.2%, which is pretty dang good. And our bottom, who's L Barrett, is at
Lucas,
13.6%.
I'm at 30% now. I was at like 8% yesterday before all the games
Yeah,
ended.
so
But
I mean, you
also was
probably still got a shot because unless Bama goes out, then you're done.
oh yeah, 100%. Bama goes out, you're
But
done.
um,
Which Bama probably wasn't the best pick.
Polish Rifle and I think it was Peyton. Yeah, Peyton. They both had Arizona going all the way, and
And
they're still hanging in there. The Polish Rifle, he's at 87.4. I'm at 76.5.
can we talk about how people still have perfect brackets though? I was just looking like 10 minutes ago when we were talking, and there's like there's still people with perfect brackets.
There's like 168 of them or something.
I'm like, that's I was like, how? Oh, like
It's
how?
nuts.
Y'all do your fucking research. Congratulations.
And there's guys out there, right, that build these little simulators and run them 1,000 times, and
I ain't got the time for that.
no matter how much you do, right, I think there's still got to be a good amount of luck in there. But yeah, hats off to them. It's crazy. I picked more upsets this year than I usually would, just because there all season long there's never really been a dominant team, right? And maybe Purdue's been the closest to it, but we see where that got them. But there's not really been a clear cut hey, this guy's at like Duke of the years past or Kentucky or Carolina. And how about Carolina, man? Goes from they won the Natty last year, right?
Yep, started the year number 1.
Started the year number 1 and then didn't even make the tournament. Holy cow! And that'll probably put the pressure on old Hubert there because they're a top 3 blue blood.
Yeah, they're them, Duke, and
UCLA,
UCLA, yeah.
Kentucky.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Speaking of not blue bloods, I do think that Marquette beats Michigan State tomorrow.
well, I had Michigan State losing to USC, so.
I
Oh,
almost
God.
picked that. I'm glad I didn't. But I do think if Michigan gets past, or Michigan State gets past Marquette, I think that they could go on a run.
Let's hope not.
Yes.
Let's pray that because, I mean, God knows they make the Sweet 16 tomorrow after tomorrow. God knows what the fuck East Lansing's going to look like.
Right.
No. What? No, I was going to say something. But like I said, the round of 32 starts today. I mean, the round of 64 was great. Like it's not as many big, exciting finishes we usually see, but it was a lot of close games, a lot of good games. But second weekend of games starts, or second round of games start today. I think in about 20 minutes, I think 12, 10 your time is the start of it. Let's see who we got. Where the hell did I do with ESPN? I mean, games like Furman, can they continue the run? I mean, can they actually could they be the Cinderella team this year? They take on San Diego State, Duke, Tennessee, Arkansas, Kansas, Princeton, Missouri. Can Princeton go on a run? Houston, Auburn, Penn State, Texas, Northwestern, UCLA, and then Maryland, Alabama to end the night. I mean, there's really you're at the. I mean, obviously, no game now is going to be not good, in my opinion. I think we all know round of 64, you might see some games that are going to be blowouts, but you don't really see that after the round of 64. I mean, everyone who's there is time to play some basketball. You're going to see games that probably end within 10 points or less. I mean, probably in the single digits, majority all of them. I mean, out of today's games, I guess I'll read off tomorrow's games too, and tomorrow you got Pitt, Xavier, Kentucky, Kansas State, Michigan State, Marquette, St. Mary's, UConn, Creighton versus Baylor, Fairleigh Dixon, and Florida Atlantic, which that looks really well for me because I need Florida Atlantic to go to the Elite Eight. That'd be wonderful to help my bracket. Miami, Indiana, TCU, Gonzaga. Which Gonzaga got a little run last night from Grand Canyon. I don't know if you've seen the score to that game, but I think Gonzaga, it was close when I was at work, and I kind of got busy and I looked away, and ended up winning by 12. But
yeah, I thought they were going to pull that off for a minute.
I was like, okay.
And you know, Gonzaga is another one that has a history of choking like dogs too, so it wouldn't have been a big shocker.
No, it wouldn't have. I mean, it's Gonzaga. They get a lot more hype than I think they should. But I mean, out of the games today and tomorrow, like, what games intrigue you the most? Like, what games do you think are going to be the games to watch?
So I think Bama Maryland could be a good game.
Mm-hmm. I hope not.
I think Maryland's got a chance to beat them. I picked Bama. I think that.
Rip.
Oh shoot, who's Man, I lost it. Um, not Northwestern.
So Northwestern plays UCLA, Texas, Penn
Yeah,
State, Houston, Auburn, Missouri, Princeton,
I think
Kansas
that
State.
Houston Auburn's going to be a good game. I think I got Auburn out, and I think Duke Tennessee is going to be a barn burner too.
Yeah, I think that's where I was going to go with that. Is I think Duke Tennessee is probably the best possible game of the weekend. Other than maybe, ooh, other than probably maybe like I like the UConn St. Mary's game too on Sunday, um, I think the Duke Tennessee game is probably going to have the biggest watch. I think that's the game to watch today, and pretty much all weekend. Like you said, I think the line Duke's favor about 3.5. I really need to start betting. I wish they had it on there. Like I wish I could bet on my phone down here. It'd be so much easier.
Yeah, good way to get in.
No, I'm not addicted to that shit.
No, I know, but I
I
see
literally
Dave
by eight.
Portman posted he hit I think it was an $8,000 parlay for 200 grand or something.
Yeah, it's Dave Portnoy. You know how much money Dave Portnoy has?
Yeah, a bunch. But still, that's a nice lick.
Oh yeah, no, I know, but I think it was. I don't know. It was. I think it was after the Arizona game or the Virginia game. They posted some video of him, them watching all the games and like their little like betting pad that they got at Barstool CEO, like where they whatever the company is, and he it's him, Big Cat, and Jersey Jerry, and Jersey Jerry afterwards just got up. He's like, I'm going to the rage room because they have a rage room in their office apparently. He's like, I'm going to the rage room. He got up and went to the fucking rage room after they lost. Like I think it's probably the same bet. They lost a good chunk of money, and like Dave just sat there fucking pissed off, and then Big Cat just shut up. But I mean, you want to go through and make picks on the games at least today. I guess we can do all of them. I mean, I'm not even gonna look at my fucking. I mean, I'm gonna look at my bracket because I'm gonna stick with the ones that I picked if they're still alive. So this one's absolutely fucked for me because I didn't have either of these teams playing. I had Charleston actually making past San Diego State, so and Virginia obviously. So San Diego State, Furman, I can pick unbiased here, thank God, without using my bracket pick. I mean, I really suck at this right now. So actually, I don't even want to make picks, but
I got San Diego State. I think I got them going to the Sweet 16, so I'm still rolling with them.
I'm gonna roll with Furman. I'm probably gonna hate my life for this, but I mean, I guess this doesn't really matter because my bracket's already shot, and this isn't for the bracket. But
Duke, Tennessee.
that's Duke, Tennessee. Um, I gotta take Duke. I had Duke going.
I don't
I
think.
think I have Duke
right,
going. I think
right now they're as hot a
Sweet
team in the
16.
country as there is.
Yeah, and I got them going to the Sweet 16 at least. And I didn't even have Tennessee winning their first game. I had Louisiana pulling the upset. So I again didn't pick any of the right upsets, sadly.
Arkansas, Kansas.
Arkansas, Kansas, another good game possibly. I think Kansas takes that one though.
Yeah, I picked Kansas, but I do think a good one. I wouldn't be shocked if Arkansas does it. And Kansas has a little bit of history of choking too especially when they're number one. Princeton, Missouri.
Yeah. I'm gonna go. I think Princeton was a one and done Cinderella. I'm gonna go with Missouri.
I'm going with Princeton on that one. Are you keeping track of this, or are we just shooting?
I'm just shooting.
Right.
I figured our brackets probably talk more than anything.
Yours is not
I'm
mine.
Relax, killer. It ain't over.
Auburn, Houston. Yeah, but I just clicked through. I have the most points available to win out of the whole bracket. I'm gonna finish in the top 3. I guarantee it.
Till UCLA loses.
So yeah, UCLA
Go
goes out before
Wildcats.
the Elite Eight, and then I'm in trouble.
Go Wildcats! Just because. What game did you say? Auburn, Houston.
Auburn.
I got freaking Houston. I think Houston continues. I think Houston's kind of a sleeper national championship possibility, in my opinion.
Yeah, I thought about picking them,
but I mean, I don't even think I have them going to the Elite Eight. But I think they're a sleeper. They're that team like they're could or couldn't. We'll see. Penn State, Texas. God, just to get a fucking Big Ten team into the second round, but a second weekend. But I mean, Penn State played decent against fucking Texas A&M, but I'm gonna take Texas. Actually, yeah, definitely taking Texas because I have Texas in the finals.
So the one thing that I did get, and I don't know what the hell I was thinking. Obviously, I wasn't, but I had Iowa State in the Final Four, and that hurt.
Yeah, and all those losses and all those games that haven't been played yet haven't been factored into your score.
Right. I'm gonna go with Texas.
Yeah, I think that's a given. I mean, who knows? UCLA, Northwestern.
UCLA.
I think so too. I think Northwestern's had a good run. Kind of coming back to the Big Ten standings, coming back and competing in the Big Ten. But I think UCLA pulls it off. Maryland, Alabama, to wrap it up for day 3 of the tournament. Please Alabama win, please.
I'm going with not Bama. I think Maryland's got a shot.
I'll cry. I'm deleting the group off of ESPN Tournament Challenge and just saying it randomly disappeared if Bama loses that game. But I'm like, oh, sorry guys. But yeah, I mean, I figure we'll just do today's games. I mean, let tomorrow's games play out. Unless you want to, we can do tomorrow's games too. It's fine. I just, I got a few more other things to talk about real quick. But I mean, like I said, it's like you said, best time of the year. College March Madness this year, guys, and ready to go sit down and watch it. I think that's more why. Michigan game just tipped off. That's also why. But I mean, I got a few other like quick sports news. Michigan hockey playing the Big Ten Tournament Championship tonight. And then playing at Minnesota for the Big Ten Tournament Championship for the second year in a row. I think the game starts at 8 Eastern. And then Team USA playing in the World Baseball Classic against Venezuela at tonight. Also, probably a late game because all the games have been late as hell. Definitely scared of Venezuela. I mean, they're killing it all tournament. I mean, so we were 3-1 in game against Mexico. Other than that, guys, I'm still trying to figure it out about the whole Spotify thing. But hopefully this week, if I post it, it actually goes through. Because I can't figure it out in my life because I've tried about every possible route other than calling them. And worst case scenario, we might have to switch over and use the actual platform through them to actually like record our shows.
Yeah.
But if that's what it comes down to, it'll do the same stuff that this does. But yeah, guys, enjoy the day 3 of the tournament. Sparty, keep being Sparty. And y'all have a good weekend. And as always, go blue. And don't worry, I'm coming back in the tournament challenge.
Hail.